There is a growing danger that's approaching. It's a self-inflicted energy scarcity crisis. And yes, I recognize that the incoming administration in DC is all about energy security and a return to energy independence and drill baby drill and all that great stuff. But there has been so much damage done the past decade to our collective energy security that we may face a breaking point in crisis before we return to stability. And if we do face such a crisis, it's going to likely occur on our power grids. Here's what the nation's grid regulators are saying. Quote, I am extremely concerned about the pace of retirements we are seeing of generators, which are needed for reliability on our system, end quote. And that was from the chairman, none other, of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or the FERC. That was in 2023. Another FERC commissioner said, the red lights are flashing. The Midwest is a prime example. Its grid is in trouble. In early 2024, the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, which covers 15 states in Middle America, is commonly referred to as MISO, it warned of urgent and complex challenges to electric system reliability. The NERC, which oversees grids across all of North America, agrees, and it expects MISO in the Midwest to face a massive capacity shortfall in less than 4 years. Now, what caused this crisis? I mentioned it was self-inflicted, and it was brought to us by the climate alarmist and radical environmental movement. Every time you heard energy transition, net zero, clean energy, or tackling climate change, that was code oftentimes for forcing the retirement and abandonment of reliables on the grid, which is coal, nuclear, natural gas power plants, and mandating their replacement with the unreliables of wind and solar, which was coupled to coincide with a mandated electrification of everything. You saw that through the efforts to ban natural gas in homes, and you saw it with the phasing out of gasoline-powered transportation vehicles and replacing them with EV mandates. So to give you an idea of how ridiculous these climate policies have been, consider a study by Princeton that estimated to achieve net zero carbon emissions in the power sector with carbon capture technology, it would require almost 70,000 miles of carbon transport pipelines. Think about how painful and long it would take to simply gain permit approval from an alphabet soup of government regulatory agencies to simply start construction of 70,000 miles of pipeline. It's never going to happen, which means such solutions and plans and policies are, as I said, ridiculous. But the ridiculous can wreak wreck a power grid in the interim before the policy is exposed. And that's exactly what's happening. Other studies showed that over 600,000 miles of new transmission lines would need to be built to achieve net zero electricity. Now, short transmission lines can take up to 15 years for approval and construction. How long do you suppose it would take to construct 600,000 miles of new transmission lines? I'm not even going to speculate on how long because it's not going to happen. America is facing a shortfall of at least 30% of electrical grid capacity by 2032. You could quadruple the number of nuclear plants in the United States and it would barely cover the shortfall. But we haven't built a new nuclear plant since the 1970s because of the environmental movement dictating policy. Even the unreliable sources of power, such as solar, they're running into regulatory impediments to scale as well. The Bureau of Land Management, the BLM, is placing numerous obstacles in the path of solar project developers. Over 80% of BLM land cannot be developed for solar energy due to regulation. And now solar is also encountering nonsensical regulations that natural gas, oil, coal, and the nuclear industry have experienced for years. Prohibitions on grading land and development within hundreds of feet of intermittent streams is an example. The radical environmental movement and the Code Red crowd are not really about fossil fuels, and it's not really about atmospheric CO2. They are about control of the individual and manufacturing energy scarcity to do so, and the evidence keeps piling up in undeniable fashion.